Welcome to the Regenaissance Podcast. I'm your host, Ryan Griggs. Visit www.theregenaissance.co to learn more.
Hello, everyone. My name is Ryan Griggs, and I'm the host of the Regenaissance Podcast. Today, alongside me, I have Katie from Universal Ostrich. Thank you for joining me.
Yeah, thanks for having me, and thank you to your audience for listening.
So, to get started for the listeners, I've posted this a few times before because I just randomly stumbled upon it on the internet about an ostrich farm in Canada to where actually I'll just step back and I'll let you just go. And so I'll just let you share, a little bit about yourself and the farm, and then just really what has been happening to you all.
Sure, sounds good. I appreciate it. So we're a farm 135 kilometers east of Vernon, British Columbia. So we're 135 kilometers away from a major city. We've been there for about 28 years, involved in ostriches for about 35 years. And there's my mom, Karen Esperson, and her business partner, Dave Belinsky, have been operating the farm for about 28 years together. Both of the same dream. It started out with just the healthy healing capabilities of an ostrich. So the red meat, it's lean and diabetics can eat it. The oil, when you render it down, the oil is very therapeutic, can be used for acne scars can be used for eczema, you name it. So it started off kind of just about the animal and the healing benefits of the animal. And then COVID-19 happened. And when COVID-19 happened, it kind of obviously put a whole redirect on looking at what can we do that's going to be sustainable? And what is this going to look like now with this amount of animals? So we started doing some research, found a gentleman out of Kyoto, Japan, named Dr. Sakamoto. And he in Kyoto, Japan is known as Dr. Ostrich. So he's been studying ostrich for years and holds 26 plus worldwide patents, everything working on the antibodies, using an antibody of an ostrich because they're just so robust. Started to connect with him. Took quite a while just to gain that trust and him to really understand that we were just as much of an animal lover as he was. And we loved our animals the way he does. And there was a friendship and a relationship that grew there. And then that brought in all his science to us. So him letting us know how with an ostrich is limitless. It's you can use the meat, you can use the oil, but then there's this antibody and you don't even need to harm the animal. And antibodies are natural. It's what we all carry when we are challenged with an environmental virus or a disease or something that we're struggling with. Our body goes to fight it. So start working with antibodies, Dr. Sakamoto. He was bringing students back and forth to our farm. We were learning about the program and how you just need to inject the hen with an antigen. So this is not a vaccine. This is just, traces of a virus. So you would isolate that sequence. You're giving them a dead virus, which is just making their body respond to, hey, there's something in me. There's this, I got to fight this off. And so all that does is the hen within 4 weeks, she'll drop down the antibodies. It'll come down and into her egg yolk. And those antibodies are pure gold because now you can extract those antibodies, which Dr. Sakamoto worked with us and has a patented design of getting the most IgYs out of an ostrich egg. And so then those antibodies can be used for nutraceuticals like nasal sprays, lozenges. He actually made a lozenge for the U.S. Army quite a long time ago. But so we're working with this program. We have about 400 birds, and my mom's excited. We're all excited. This is something sustainable. This is something that could help humanity. This is something that is not going to be eradicated by the next COVID pandemic, whatever we got going on. Now we can come up with a sustainable, stabilizing solution for the world to upcoming viruses, treating disease. We were very excited. So along the process, we started working. There was a gentleman out of Quebec. His name is Frederic Leduc, and he had a lab, and he specialized in chicken antibodies, which people use. The world uses chicken antibodies. This has been happening for years and years and years. That is no secret. So he was kind of government funded in that for chicken antibodies. But he said, I would love to just, do some testing and some experiments on one of your ostrich eggs. So we sent him a couple ostrich eggs. He started doing some research on them, playing around with the COVID-19, the variants, and seeing how the antibodies would react, because our hens we did give them that antigen to see if we could help, because that was during the COVID-19 uproar. And he came back to us and was shocked. He said, if all of your ostrich eggs are like these ostrich eggs, this is a game changer. This is incredible. And then he also did further studies, which we have proof that our antibodies have the ability to go in and neutralize the COVID-19 variants. So it went above, my mom can explain it so well. I have so many other things on it, but it goes above the crown. It does this whole thing, and it can neutralize the sequence of illness for people. And I say that like that because I know there's some people that don't even believe in the viruses, or some people that we all have our own beliefs, but something was making people sick. I don't know if they released it. We don't know. There's all these takes on it, but this is what we were able to do. We were able to help. And that was the biggest thing. About a week later, his lab got bought out, and he had to sign a non-disclosure. And he phoned us and said, I'm sorry, I can't talk to you guys anymore. So I got chills right now just saying it again. And we've known this has happened for years. But, it's
So
just...
when exactly was that again? Because you said a week later, and this was at the
So
height of the pandemic?
That was that was during the pandemic. Yeah. So obviously someone didn't want that information released, which, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but it's pretty hard not to put the pin on. We're at war with big pharma here, right? We all are. And so anyways, moving on to that. So we were shocked. We were really upset because we thought that was a golden opportunity, because we had some now even more research, but here in Canada, this could have went forward. So my mom, God bless her soul, is the farmer and rancher we all are. And she started going to the government, though, thinking that looking for grants, looking for support. So somewhere that would see what we're working on and help us, where we could build an extraction facility within Canada, start building the facilities, help humanity, bring all this stuff to the forefront, because now we even just got, more information solidified with us that we had something really big. And I'm a firm believer that this is what's probably put the biggest target on our back, is approaching our own government, which you should never have to feel this way in any country that you live in. And so we'll speed up to December of 2024, just this last year, which is putting us into the position we're in now. And we started to see some illness in our ostrich. And this, keep in mind, please, too, that in Canada, ostrich we've never had avian influenza in ostrich. This would have been the first case. So this was not on our mind. So mid-December, we have illness. We start losing some of our ostriches. However, this starts to present itself in a way the same back in year 2020. We had a herd about 300 ostrich. We had these symptoms, and we phoned our vet. And our vet said, oh, hey, I'm coming out. We're going to do a gold standard sample. Keep that one in mind too. Gold standard sample is a tissue sample. If you're a vet, you're going to look for their tissue. After that, you would even probably be doing soil samples as a farm, water samples. So tissue sample comes back right away for high levels of Pseudomonas bacteria. So we were shocked. We're like, how does a ranch or a farm get this really bad bacteria? And he said it could be as just a tourist, a visitor bringing in this, like from another place. So we isolated. We started doing our own quarantine procedures, as any ranch or farmer would know. You have a large herd. You start you separate the sick from the healthy. You mitigate the problem. You do your own quarantine procedures, and with really quickly, our ostriches gained their health. We did lose about 10 at the time, so 10 out of 300. But then everything, we were good. So never thought much more of that until December 2024. And then we started to see the exact same symptoms. And so right away in our mind is, okay, we got Pseudomonas bacteria back. It does live in the soil. It maybe popped up, we had mallard ducks that landed in our field, about 300 to 500 of them, and thought, okay, they must have, maybe the mallard ducks brought it in. Not even thinking H5N1. And so we call our vet, and because it is through the holidays, he couldn't get, we got his receptionist, the call went out to him, waiting for his call back. This is December 27th, like within there. We get a phone call right away from Canadian Food Inspection Agency saying that from an anonymous tip that someone was sure we have H5N1. So right away we start explaining to them our symptoms, and we said that we've had fatalities, but we have a whole bunch of ostriches that have gotten sick and now they're getting better. We have a whole one side of our farm that has never even gotten sick. They don't have a symptom. Nothing is wrong with them. So this does not go with the theme of H5N1, because H5N1, you're looking at a commercial poultry facility, which we are not. We are a research facility, not used for consumption, not selling our eggs, haven't been for 3 to 4 years. But in a commercial poultry facility, you're going to have 20 to 30,000 chickens dead overnight. Now, because they're enclosed, they're tight, they're weakened immune systems already because their living quarters. And so they say to us outright, the symptoms they don't go with H5N1. However, when you have another couple dead ostriches, would you mind just letting us know? We would like to come test and just rule it out. So that was one of our biggest mistakes, which it shouldn't be. You shouldn't be afraid of these organizations. You should be able to say, hey, great, that sounds wonderful. It's isolated. If there's a problem, we mitigate. You work with us to keep us alive. We do everything right. But anyway, so that was another one of the worst things that we could have did. We said, sure, let's get a couple tests done. Also not knowing that when they came in, we thought that they were going to come and do their gold standard samples, which is a tissue sample, or we would have some other samples be done. They brought PCR tests to test our ostriches. Makes me want to tear up again. I'm emotional these days. So these ostriches too that they requested to, if we had a couple dead, that they would come and test, that they laid there dead for up 16 to 18 hours. So these are animals that have laid on the ground, could have been exposed to, I don't know what, things that are growing in them. Who knows what is happening? And they come out, they proceed to do 2 tests, so an oral sample off each and a rectal sample off each. At the same time, we said, hey, we have one whole side of our farm, majority of our farm has never got an illness, or not one of these symptoms. They're not sick. We haven't lost one. Can we please test some of our healthy ones just to see if they have the same virus or whatever's going on, or whatever, the H5N1? Nope, sorry, that's not possible. Can we test some of our symptomatic ones that are alive and have gotten better? Nope, sorry.
Did they elaborate at all, or they just said no?
Denied us testing on anybody else besides the 2 dead ones. So they came in with a narrative I'm going to paint the picture. It's pretty hard not to unpaint off the canvas. They came in with a narrative. They were searching for something. They brought PCR tests, which we all know are super unreliable. You can run at high cycles and you can test an avocado and get H5N1 or COVID-19. You can test anything. As long as you run it high enough cycles, you're going to get what you want. So the next day, they phone us back, say, you have tested positive for the highly pathogenic H5N1 virus. And you're under quarantine at this point. All farm sales, anything to do if we had because we were always expanding on this idea. So been trying to set up satellite farms, people who want to get into ostriches. Because we do know that with the antibodies and the program and how big it would be, we need to have people working with us for eggs, lots of eggs. So that's what was our sustainability, and kind of kept the lights on, kept the feed coming in. And they said everything is halted, and we are, your farm is under quarantine, and we're going to have to euthanize your whole farm or cull your farm. But then at the same time, we're like, whoa, we're a research facility. So this doesn't make sense. We're not in stores. We're not eating these animals, but we have something here that could actually help this. So this is a shock to us. How do we go forward? And they said, you know what? So this is December 30th. They said January 2nd, let's have a Zoom call, and it's going to be all the top officials. It's going to be vets, the top CFIA vets. It's going to be everybody. They're really interested in your research. And this does sound like something that could be really helpful to humanity. So January 2nd, a 5.5 hour Zoom call goes out. We have, they want our business plan. They want all of our research. They want our documents, any vet we've talked to. They want everything, because that's what's going to save our farm. And then January 2nd, we also get an email from our caseworker. Our caseworker, the email says, congratulations, you qualify for special rare genetics. So January 10th, so at the 5 hour mark of that Zoom call, it's really important. My mom says, because it just feels like it's going nowhere, but they're just asking, they're bleeding us of information. My mom says, have you already decided you're going to kill our animals and you're just taking all of our intellect property? And they're like, no, we're very interested in your research. This is really great. Fast forwarding to our legal findings, going through our proceedings, December 30th, they already signed our kill order. So they already signed our kill order. They were lying to us on January 2nd. They misled us, and they were taking all of our intellect property, because we do know that it is something that they're very interested in, but it's very interesting because they don't want it exposed. And then they, gives them our long track record of everybody we've talked to, who we've worked with. How did we get to where we are? January 10th was doomsday for us. That's when we did get an exemption package. Let's just go there too. So the exemption package after that meeting it's called the Unit 1 distinct Unit 1 exemption package. And it is, so if you're a farm under quarantine and you're set to be killed, you do have this right to fill out this exemption package and see if you get a Hail Mary. In the exemption package, we open it up and it lists, it's for turkeys, ducks, chickens, and turkeys, ducks, and geese. So there's no talking of any ratite animal, which an ostrich is a ratite. It's not poultry. It's a red meat bird and it's flightless. There's no talking of emus or rheas. They're all in the ratite family. In this unit distinct package, it explains that every question is pertained to a commercial poultry facility. So we go back and we say, we cannot fill this exemption package out. It's for a commercial poultry facility. We're not a commercial poultry facility. we are going to have to just like basically non-applicable, or no, because it just doesn't pertain to us. Our caseworker comes back and says, you will fill out this package. If you don't fill out this package, automatically you will be denied the exemption. So she said, even if you have to just put no's, put no. So we put no's, take a big gulp, and they're like, this is like, you're putting your trust in your caseworker now and the government. And sure enough, so now we're at January 10th, which was doomsday. We get a letter at the end of the day from the government. It's a Friday at the end of the day, so we can't even, there's no going back and forth and talking to them. And it says, we're sorry, you don't qualify for special rare genetics. Something happened between January 2nd and January 10th that we lost the right to special rare genetics. And then in that letter, it also states, we are, by February 1st as a farm, we are to kill all of our own animals that we have raised, some of them for 35 years. Some of them are, most of our ostriches are in their 20s. These are animals that have names, personalities we've grown up with, that now we see them as this golden, beautiful opportunity of an animal that could change and help humanity. We're supposed to go out there as farmers, kill them all, look at them in their healthy eyes, the whole, more than half of our farm that's never seen a symptom and super healthy and strong, kill them, dispose of them back in our hayfield. 9-foot deep holes. We could approximately fit. There are 300-pound animals. We could, with their qualification, or their what we're supposed to do, we would be able to fit about 10 ostriches per hole. 6 meters apart, another hole. 6 meters apart, another hole. So this highly contagious, crazy, bad virus that is going to ruin humanity and puts all of our everything at risk is we're allowed to bury that back in our hayfield. And then bears, we have grizzlies, everything's waking up. So now we're shaking our heads. We're like, none of this makes sense. And we're not killing them. So we're like, that's out of the question. And then that became the fight for our life. It was, we needed a lawyer. No lawyer wanted to touch us because this is a big federal court matter. This is going against the Canadian Food Inspection Agency. With the Canadian Food Inspection Agency is ran by the World Animal Health Organization, which is then ran by the World Health Organization, which then answers to the United Nations. So lawyers were just not on board to take this on. Found a lawyer at the last minute on January 16th. He went in for a deep dive. And we started doing all the media we could, trying to get the awareness of what was happening. And just by the squeak of January 31st, just before February 1st, we had we got a really good judge, Justice Batista. He went and did a bunch of digging. He said this would cause irreparable harm and damage to 2 livelihoods, that the culling of all these animals, that he saw that we were not offered the proper options. So they do in their policy list that culling is not the only option. You can vaccinate, there's other options. So he kind of just focused on that too to help us, and said, you can't pick and choose through your policy. Why did you just jump to culling? You didn't even give them an option of the other options. He also put in there, I think there should have been more of a review done, being that we're a research facility. Well, we won an injunction, which has led us this far. That injunction granted us the judicial review, which we are approaching in 7 days. And that really made Canadian Food Inspection Agency mad, because nobody wins against the Canadian Food Inspection Agency. And they attacked the judge, and they said he erred in law, he erred in principle, and he overstepped his jurisdiction. So we're at a federal court level. This is a judge who's trying to look outside the box and say, there is a farm here that he noted. He just could see it. There's something here. Why aren't we? I know in the back of his head, he's probably thinking, why aren't we using science to help better science? Why are we not looking at this opportunity? And so since from then, it's been kind of a snowball effect. We wanted to test our own animals. We said, we'll test them like a third party test. We'll go get a test. We can prove to you that we're pretty sure, now that we know that they say we tested positive for H5N1, that I bet you more than half of our ostriches have been exposed to H5N1 because the symptoms, and we started putting the puzzle pieces together, going, I bet you in 2020, we have the same thing. I'm going to still say probably there's high levels of Pseudomonas bacteria, which they've never tested for, knowing they knew too of that test. We told them about this illness that we've had and that it's very similar. They didn't test for Pseudomonas bacteria. They've never tested our soil. They've never tested our water. All of this fight to keep these animals alive and save our science is based off 2 PCR tests. They've been on our farm multiple times since. They've never retested our animals. They've never worked with all of that science that we told them. But what they did do was threaten us a $250,000 fine and or 6 months in jail if we test any of our own animals, livestock. It also states that we're not allowed to treat them. So as a farmer, as a rancher, and we were very upfront right away at the beginning, we were treating them. That's what you do. As soon as we started to see illness, we treated them just like we did back in 2020. And we were giving them, we had our own, my mom has her own treatment. And that's we were starting to see our animals get better. We did lose some. It was more aggressive, but we had illness. Then we had animals that were fighting it and got better where you wouldn't even know that they were ever sick. So we've been threatened jail time. We have been put on a strict quarantine, which we've been taking extremely seriously. We're on a dead end road. We're in the middle of nowhere. Please look up Edgewood, British Columbia. And you would be very, very shocked that we're not in a city. We're not jeopardizing commercial poultry facilities. We're not jeopardizing human safety because we're down in the Fraser Valley. But what they kept coming back to us, their fight is that they need to kill all of our animals due to their trading partner policies. So they're protecting our trading partner policies, but not science and research that could help the world stabilize, not just this, but anything coming up next. We have the opportunity here to do something really good. They're focusing on trading partner policies, not looking at our ranchers, not looking at our farms, not looking at how, we're 300-pound animals. We're just keeping them busy at our farm right now. We tell this to everybody in our community, everywhere. When they're done with us, they're moving on to you. And the things that we have found out in here are so alarming. They don't even need a test to come and kill all of your animals. They need a suspicion. It's in all their policy. So on that January 10th letter, when we got told that we had to kill all of our animals, in there too, in big, bold, black letters, it says, this is not subject to appeal. So they stripped us away from our rights to appeal this, which we got the judicial review. God, thank you. And they've just been fighting us the whole way, rather than being an organization that comes in and says, no, hey, we're recognizing this whole more than half of your farm was never sick. We could probably try to save them. And even the ones that really had a lot of symptoms, we would have been okay with saying, okay, let's come up with a good strategy. Then maybe we'll have to euthanize a few of these ones. Let's strip and clean out the sick pen because they were all isolated away from each other. We were like that's what an organization, you think when you go into something like this, that's what they're going to do. They're going to work with you, stabilize your farm, help your farm, um, do the right thing. But no, they have one thing in mind, and that is kill. Their mandate is actually to test, quarantine, kill, compensate. That's their mandate. They don't have a mandate to help farms stabilize and keep what they have. And they do not care that this could cause irreparable harm and damage to sixth generation farmers, to fourth or fifth or whatever generation farmers, first generation farmers who are just getting going and want to leave a legacy for their children, and are working with sustainable and healthy farming practices. They don't care. Everything needs to die. So now, keeping in mind too, as going on, so CFIA visited our farm the very first time, and it was a Canadian Food Inspection Agency vet and one of their workers. And then we said to them, why? So what are you going to do with all the migratory birds outside? Because they're carrying the H5N1. So we have a bunch of the ducks, 300 to 500 ducks that are coming and going out of our pen every day. they're flying off, they're pooping bombs everywhere, and then they fly back and they eat whatever leftover grain or cozy up into the ostrich bedding because they're warm with the ostriches. And they said, nothing. That's wildlife. What are you going to do? Kill all the wildlife in the world? Our migratory birds in the world? That's crazy. And I said, but you killing our 400 flightless ostriches that pose nothing but opportunity for humanity, that's going to save the world? And they said, yeah, no, it's that's wildlife. That's conservation. That's not our jurisdiction, and it has to run its course. So it's allowed to run its course in our wildlife and our migratory birds, but we're going to kill off all of our agricultural industries. But then that leads you down to the whole rabbit hole of that's absolutely what they want to do. Their mandates are that we will be eating factory processed meat by 2030, 2050. There will be no agricultural animals. There will be no outdoor animals. We will not be eating a cow. We will not be eating a chicken. Or if we're eating that chicken, it's going to come from their genetic labs, pre-vaccinated, pre-microchipped. They're going to know the temperature of that chicken. They're going to know everything about that chicken. If you want an organic farm egg anymore, or if you want to go and your neighbor and you get that side of beef or know where your beef came from, that will cease to exist if we do not stand together and stop it here. And so that's where we've become a movement, because we're saying no. And we're bringing up the biggest awareness possible that this is not just a Canadian issue. This is an American issue. This is a global problem and a global fight. We all need to stand together because they're coming for all of our industries, our agricultural industries. And ostrich are just one step in their path. We're just, what we set is a precedence, because we are a large 300-pound outdoor livestock animal. And if they have to kill our almost 300 or 400 animals because of their 2 PCR tests, well, then now they'll use this as a precedence of what they had to do with their outdoor livestock. They're going to go down to the dairy. They're going to go down to the cows. They're going to go down to your goat farm. They're going to go down to the swine, because they had to, because all outdoor animals, and in our discoveries, we found this out, they have said, the Canadian Food Inspection Agency themselves, that all outdoor animals pose a risk because they are exposed to migratory birds. So this is very alarming, because that's every outdoor chicken, every outdoor cow, every outdoor pig, everything that's outdoors, which then will be your dogs, then it's going to be your cats, and then it's going to be us, because now we are exposed to migratory birds. So we've lived on this earth for how many millions of years? And this is antibodies and natural immune systems are what have taken us this far. They now, during COVID-19, they used marketing that was community immunity. If you get vaccinated, then everybody can gain this natural immunity. But now in our situation, they're not just, so they call it a stamping out technique, and that's the mass culling. They're not stamping out virus. They are stamping out natural immunity. And by stamping out natural immunity, we are setting our global population up for a catastrophic event that we'll never be able to turn back from, because we'll never get those animals back that have good genetics, bulls with good bloodlines, the calves that are being born strong, the dairy farm, that they breed, they've picked their bloodlines and genetics. If we go across our globe and we start mass culling and killing off our agricultural industries by just having zero accountability for actions, but just killing every animal, we will have no natural immunity. But then that's what they want. Because if we have no natural immunity, we will all have to survive based off vaccinations to live. So if you don't get your vaccinations this year, you probably will die because you're not eating the eggs that have the antibodies from our natural chickens. You won't be eating your beef and everything that has immunity in it. It has natural antibodies in it, and we consume that. They want control at its highest level, and that has become extremely. It's been a fact. Like, that's become the forefront of this fight. It's not that they are looking for just H5N1, because we have a solution here. We've offered it to the government. We said we are not at the beginning stages of our science. We are at the usable stages of our science. We have egg yolks of antibodies frozen, and they don't want any part of it. On one of their visits, just to help people, because I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but you can't make this stuff up. They came to our farm on one of their visits, outright on camera, asked us, where do you store your COVID-19 antibodies? Why are you asking us where our COVID-19 antibodies are when you're here for H5N1? Are you not focused on our H5N1 virus problem and our ostriches out there? Why are you talking about our frozen COVID-19 antibodies that are from years ago? And we said, so you're telling us you're going to come into our home, you have the right to destroy all of our antibodies? And they said, we will. And it was the February 1st looming deadline. They said, come February 1st, if you are in non-compliance of killing your own animals, we will come into your personal residence. We will take and destroy everything and anything to do with ostrich. So they've been on our farm multiple times. They come in their hazmat suits. They put on this big dramatic show. I have learned from somebody who is a hazmat expert that they're actually even wearing the wrong hazmat suits. They're not even wearing the proper hazmat suits for something like this. They have been fining us. We're at $20,000 worth of fines. They just start giving us $10,000 fines now.
For what?
One was not reporting a reportable disease, which I've told you guys we did. We did the right stuff. We were following the protocol. Why attack us more? You're already trying to kill us, right? Why do you need to keep attacking us? But we're at war, and we did open up that because we're saying no, and we're trying to let the world wake up to, we are in a war together, and we need to all come to the front lines. We all have to take a responsibility in this. And the responsibility, it's not to save our ostriches. The responsibility is, yeah, sure, let's save our science. Absolutely. But if they are allowed to get away with it here, they're coming. This isn't going to stop. So right now we're fighting to change policy. We're fighting to wake up everybody and let them see that these organizations are answering, not their hands are tied. Honestly, they're answering to the World Animal Health Organization, who's answering to the World Health Organization, like I said, and answering to the UN. So their hands are tied. I understand that. But where does your conscience kick in and go, maybe what I'm doing, and I'm smothering millions of chickens in foam and suffocating them, and maybe when I'm doing all this without testing them all, maybe I should stop. Maybe I should quit my job. Maybe I should take a stand. with the other side and say there's a better way, because stamping out's not working. I'm sure it has its place, maybe somewhere, but it doesn't have a global space, because a global space of stamping out is just leading us into one problem, and that will be no farmers, no food, and we will solely be relying on the government for our food, for our protein, our everything. Why in God's name would you kill the survivors? We've been living now, we are, I wrote it down. So I have to always go with my days. Where I think 93 days, or we're 84 days since. So January 14th was our last symptomatic death. Since then, yes, we had a rooster get his head caught in a fence. There's a couple issues in there, which they're trying to say that, they're trying to peg on us, saying you're supposed to report every death. And we were like, no, we're not reporting one as a farmer that the head gets caught in a fence and he dies because of a little gruesome death, or a hen slipped on ice and she broke a hip. We're not going to report those because you're going to use them against us. They were all documented, pictures, everything done, sent to them, but we're not reporting them as an illness. They're not an illness. So our last reportable illness, symptomatic death, was January 14th, which is 84 days ago. 84 days ago. We are 98 days under quarantine. And our animals are healthy, dancing in the sunshine. Sorry. They want them dead. They kill. So we have had even motions that we put into our court asking them to please allow us to retest our animals. Please. We can prove to you. We have top scientists saying, I can prove to you that these animals are not shedding the virus. They pose no public health risk. Nope. They almost smirk. Their lawyer for the Department of Justice, the lawyer for Canadian Food Inspection Agency, smirks. She's just grinning. It's like, you're talking about killing almost 400 amazingly healthy, beautiful animals that could offer opportunity to our world, and you're smirking. It's evil. It's pure evil. A couple really good things to point out to your audience and you, I think, is so we did have some tests done on yolk that has not been on the farm, not in the quarantine. We broke no laws. This yolk was from during the COVID times, and that egg yolk came back positive for H5N1 antibodies. So we proved our theory that we've been pre-exposed. We've been living here happy, healthy, and these animals carry H5N1 antibodies. Those were from the ones that have never gotten sick. All of them are healthy. Then we took it a step further and we tested our blood. My blood, my mom's blood, her business partner's blood, and all of our blood comes back positive for H5N1 antibodies. So we're all healthy. We're fine. We're here. We've never been hospitalized. We're not. So this is huge. And this is huge for the Americans to know, for the world to know, that as we're being fear-mongered into that this is all, end all, like H5N1 could wipe out everybody. No, it's the United Nations that are going to wipe out everybody. It's going to be the stamping out policies that wipe out everybody. It's going to be the stamping out of natural immunity that's going to be the end of everybody. It is not H5N1. Again, I am not a doctor. I'm not going to say that there's not going to be people that'll be hospitalized from it, but there's hospitalizations from the flu every day. There's seniors, there's immune compromised people that end up getting hospitalized from the regular flu every day. So, but fear mongering that if we don't stamp out and kill every agricultural farm, that based on a suspicion, remember this, if your neighbor, you have a neighbor that is upset with you and you've had a tiff, which we all have neighbors that are not the best neighbors somewhere down in our life, that if they're just so tired of you having 10 backyard chickens and they just want them gone, they just have to call Canadian Food Inspection Agency and they just have to say, at night, I saw them taking out a couple dead chickens. I'm sure that they have avian influenza. You'll get a knock at your door. They will take your animals. They will kill them all. You have no rights. You have no rights. We're losing our rights. We're losing our rights as landowners. We're losing our rights as farmers, as agricultural experts in, when you have beef and sixth generation, whatever, first, second, third, you become an expert in your animal. You know your animal. You're going to dispose of them properly when they're sick. You're going to do the right things. But we're losing all of our rights as ranchers across the globe. So we need to make this a global movement. Our fight right now, where we really need the support, which is, I heard from, I've been working with the Cavalry Group in the States out of Oklahoma, Mindy Patterson. She's just been spearheading an awareness of this as well. And she said, I loved this saying, and money is power. Money is ammunition in this war. And unfortunately, it's going to be everybody's support that will help us get through this. And then whatever happens on we have a judicial review on the 15th and 16th of April, which is coming up really fast. If we lose that judicial review, then they're so immune. I hate even the word immune because that's too good for them. They're untouchable. So we don't know how that appeal process right after that will work. If we lose the 15th and 16th, this is right before Easter weekend. They're trying to happily, with smirks on their faces, get the rights to come in and kill our almost 400 healthy animals. And if we lose that, we just need to be prepared. We've paid out about almost $70,000 into lawyers this far. We're over $100,000 into debt with our lawyers. We need awareness. We need support. I say to everybody, if you can't financially contribute even $5, if you think you don't have enough, that's not enough, it is enough. If everybody could give $5, then please pray for us, share, talk about it with every neighbor, every agricultural neighbor you have. Talk about what's happening here in Canada and how we are this close, 7 days. We're 7 days away from our hearing, that we're trying to set a precedence that everybody can fight with and give. We need to rewrite policy. The trading partner policies are completely outdated and they offer nothing in taking human or animal health forward. And so we need to stop them. We need to rewrite policy. We need to stand up if every industry stood up together, we can stop it. But if we allow and roll over on our back and allow them to come in and kill our animals because we're looking for compensation, then sorry, my dog is right here. She's wanting attention, of course. I'm pushing her back. We need to make it a global movement. And we need to rise up because we are years away from not seeing any cows outside. We're years away from not seeing a chicken outside. And if it's not H5N1, it's going to become the next thing. And I want to point out too, our farm, I always forget to say, they're saying that we have the worst strain in Canada on our farm, right? They're just everything why they need to kill our animals. But if we're the worst strain in Canada and we're all living with antibodies and our animals have antibodies, I will promise you right now, keeping our animals alive on our farm do way more for humanity and the stabilizing of this than bringing in. Imagine this is what they tell farmers to do. You kill all your animals and then we'll resupply you with more animals. Young, immune compromised. They don't have the immunity. They don't have the genetics. So they're okay with you killing all your animals and bringing in, say, another 400 that are still exposed to migratory ducks. So you're going to end up repeating this process a couple times. because those young animals are definitely going to get sick because they don't have that strength. They don't have that. Their immune system has not overcome the environmental challenges of the years that they've been on this earth. Or in a cow, like the bulls, and saving the ones that have the strong genetics and the mums and the so they're okay with you repopulating your farm, still exposed to the migratory ducks flying around. So farmers are going to go through this cycle probably once or twice. Maybe a diehard might do it 3 times until a farmer gives up. Now, when a farmer gives up, now it's not their fault, right? The farmers gave up. So we need to not give up, and we need to show them how strong we are, and we need to come together on a global movement.
No, I agree, because for all the listeners that might think that what you're saying about governments trying to take away land animals, last week someone reached out to me in Hungary to where I forgot the name of the disease they're trying to put on cows, but essentially they're doing the same thing there, even in
Hand,
Hungary.
foot, mouth disease.
Yes, yes, and so they're doing that even there to where they're trying to take away all the cows there, and then obviously there's a lot that's happening in Western Europe, Ireland, UK, and then obviously in the
Globally.
US here too with the avian flu. That's why I do all of this, is because the only way that the government's been able to get away with all of the BS they've been able to do forever is because the public's really lacked the knowledge. Because I've also done a podcast way like a year and a half ago of a sheep farm in Vermont, and they in similar ways they had their whole entire flock quarantined, and they ended up losing it all, and that was all for the government to convince Congress to give them $450 million in funding for a new facility in Iowa, and that worked. But then it wasn't until like 10 years later that someone from either the FDA or USDA was a whistleblower and told them that they just were used as a scapegoat for all that. And so there's just so many examples of just the government doing just BS, and they are very, very good at being salesmen to the general public, of wordsmithing everything to where it's in their favor and to where you can't question anything. So yeah, I just wanted to add that because this is so tragic, but this is something that the government everywhere is trying to really do.
Well, and that's where, I mean, there's a, sorry.
You're fine.
The door's open, they're all going to run out in a minute. There they go. 500, at the beginning of this, it really went well together because the states just gave $590 million to Moderna for H5N1 vaccinations, which I know you guys are on a better kind of path now. There's big changes happening. But then Canada went and bought 550,000 vaccinations for H5N1 for the most compromised, for the people who are most compromised or at risk. Sorry. Then you start doing the math, and you know how they made nurses have to get vaccinated to work, and they had all that. Well, you do the math, you go, how many commercial poultry farms are there in Canada? And it was 80,000. Say you go times 2 even, or if now they're going to make the main handler, or maybe they're going to go to the biggest commercial poultry facilities and they're going to now make all the handlers get vaccinated. And where are we going with this? Now at this point of the game, you can't become... Now, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but you can't stop thinking what's going to be next, because this is, there's no stopping them here. And in one of our affidavits, the one exemption Canada gave, they talk about it so boastfully, like it's such a good thing. And in an affidavit, they write in that there was a facility, a commercial poultry or a facility that got it exempt. And this was over, I think, in Quebec, but they redacted the name. But they still put the dates, they still put the location. So you start to do some digging. Well, at that same time, at that same location was Hendrix Genetics. It's genetically modified hybrid turkey farm. That hybrid turkey farm is also owned or operated by the federal government. Hendrix Genetics, we bring all the turkeys and the hybrid turkeys over from the Netherlands. So then why are we not supporting our farms and saying, no, we want our locals to raise our turkeys. We're bringing in genetically modified turkeys from the Netherlands. And they said in Canada, 90%, if you go to any of your local grocery stores, you are buying a Hendrix turkey. You're eating a genetically modified hybrid turkey. And so, and you see these organic, they all say these names on them, but why? Because maybe they were fed some organic feed, but they came from a hybrid turkey farm and bloodlines and genetics from the Netherlands. So it's the tangled web that is woven is so big. It is, and this is what they hope. The average person doesn't have time to go down the rabbit holes. The average person doesn't have time to fight this, to take on this, but they did pick with the wrong farm. And we see that if we cancel out and eradicate all of our science, we have no options because we have posed. Can you hear my dog barking?
I'm
barely. So sorry.
It's fine. No, you're fine.
I tell you, it's just when I get on the computers, sometimes in there that they just have to find this time to not, stop barking. But yeah, I forgot what I was saying. But it's we are getting rid of our farms. But yeah, and there is no way that people, a normal person can take this on. Say cattle. In a cattle situation, is the minute you quarantine a cattle farm and how does a rancher keep your animals in quarantine, feed say 600 head of cattle for say 6 months or something under quarantine? You're going to go bankrupt. You're going to go broke. And so not a lot of cattle farmers or anybody can take that on. It's so there's nobody there. They usually take the compensation. Chicken farmers take the compensation. It's easier that way. You get to repopulate. But where we're coming from is the government is starting to supply all these chicken farms with the chickens. So the government's slowly implementing already it's all of our government food. It's our government chicken that they want us to eat with the 10 vaccinations that it's already had before we put it into our oven. So we need to definitely, I think, take this situation that we have that has blown up with some global attention, and we need to stand up, everybody that can, together and say, even if you're not at the point of, being culled, then think about it as in, what would happen if in a year from now, oh Lord, sorry. What would happen in a year from now if, they're at my door? Just think about it futuristically. And it doesn't even have to be that far down the road. What would happen if my neighbor called in on me because they're scared for their lives, that we're going to pose a risk and we're going to get their little kids sick? What would happen to me as a farmer? And that's where we all stand up and go, you know what? We're going to stand with the ostrich farm to change policy, bring awareness, stop this massacre of animals that's putting our food sovereignty at risk, and what we put on our plates and how we eat and what we choose to eat. And it's now or never. It's now or never.
In closing, for the listeners, where can they find you at, and for any type of support too?
Yeah, you can. We've had an amazing group of people. They put together. There was a site. We do have a website coming too, but it's saveourostriches.com. And on saveourostriches.com, you can also watch some of the small clips of the CFIA officers at our farm. So little shorts have been put up. Interviews that we did in the beginning, a lot of interviews are all posted on there. Then you have an option also to donate. The links are there for GoFundMe if you feel more comfortable with GoFundMe, Give, Send, Go, and a direct e-transfer link for saveourostriches@gmail.com. And all proceeds are going to there's feed on the farm and lawyers. And the lawyers they've been really wonderful. We have 2 right now, but 4 with assistance, and like 4 altogether with their assistance. Lee Turner, he is out of Kelowna, British Columbia here, and he just won a case to do with Charles Hoff. Charles Hoff was a real whistleblower, and he rang the bell on vaccination illness when everything was happening. And his clinic got burnt down around the same time when Lytton caught on fire and his clinic magically burnt down. He won that case anyway for him to be reinstated and get his license back. He's a great guy. Lee Turner, Michael Carter out of Chilliwack, BC. He's been phenomenal. He's had to learn a lot really fast, and everybody's just been working day and night. So, though everything is going to these amazing humans who are fighting for all of us, they are not just fighting to save our ostriches. I know it says save our ostriches, but it's save our ostriches, save our freedom, because we're under attack, and it's quite it's you can't hide it. We're at war, and our agricultural industry needs to step up and come to the front lines.
Absolutely agreed. And then to the listeners, I'll make sure to link all of those as well in the show notes. Thank you for joining me. I'm going to do everything I can to help too from this, because it's just tragic that the government does this a lot, and it pisses me off. It pisses me off a lot.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's not much, I guess, I fortunately to add to that, other than thank you for sharing your story.
Thanks for having me, and thank you for sharing this and doing what you do, because without your voice and a platform that you've created, they'd be getting away with a lot more. So, we also said anybody in the States that's interested in the research we're doing, maybe we need to do one of the biggest sales and create of antibodies, largest antibody sales in in history, and we bring the research to the States, and maybe the States wants the research that could save humanity if before Canada kills it. And maybe you guys want to be proud of that, because Canada, our government evidently does not want to. So anybody listening and has some power and has some, there's opportunity here to build extraction facilities and do this nutraceuticals and save humanity in a natural and safe way with antibodies. So we can help save our agricultural industries. We can help save humanity, and we can, commercial poultry farms, we can do fogging machines of the antibodies in the chickens, so the chickens are inhaling the antibodies. We have opportunity here, so hopefully we can save it.
I agree. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Visit www.theregenaissance.co to learn more.